Like Meghan McCain, when she was describing the story, said there were people who said, "Where are the Jews? I'm going to fight them." Okay. Then Brett Stevens is now saying that the Palestinian people were chanting "death to Jews" when they fucking were not. We saw the video. They were literally saying "Free Palestine," according to a witness. Assaulted Jewish diners at a Los Angeles sushi restaurant. Not the people who threw fireworks in New York's Diamond District. Not the people who brutally beat up a man wearing a yarmulke on Times Square. Not the people who drove through London slurring Jews and yelling rape their daughters. Not the people who gathered outside of a synagogue in Germany shouting slurs. So, a question I have is, I wonder why these stories all get lumped in with one another, and they are all anti-Semitic attacks. That is the truth, so you can lump them in. But, like, you're lumping them in as though, like, all of these people and all of these stories are equal when you try to make a political point that, like, this demonstrates that, like, the Free Palestine movement is anti-Semitic, when, like, for example, the synagogue one is literally neo-Nazis. Like, that's neo-Nazis. Those are neo-Nazis. They are not supporters of Palestine, okay? Oh, sorry. Anti-Semitism exists, so I guess we can't criticize Israel. My bad, dude. Let's stop right now. Fucking idiot. Also, not getting the memo are the people who have tweeted the hashtag Hitler was right, including someone who now works for the BBC, along with the hashtag COVID-1948, a suggestion that Israel's a virus that needs to cure Hamas's rockets as a vaccine. Apparently, these hashtags count. Where? I've never seen these hashtags. Anyway, okay. Again, I gotta repeat myself, but it's anti-Semitic people exist, which means that you can't criticize Israel. Sorry, I don't make the rules. Apparently, this hashtag counts as legitimate political speech at Twitter, a company whose objections to bigotry are otherwise so strong that it once banned a Canadian feminist for the sin of tweeting remarks about a transgender women like men aren't women. So, hold on. I thought that Brett Stevens was anti-cancel culture and anti-freedom of speech. I thought he was pro-free speech and anti-cancel culture, but now he's saying, like, now he's asking for more censorship, which I agree with, by the way, for the record. I just want to make sure. Okay. In this storm of hate, political leaders such as Mayor Eric Garcetti of Los Angeles, Biden, Prime Minister Boris Johnson of Britain have issued appropriate statements of condemnation. On CNN, correspondent Brianna, like, it's great when I hear President Biden, who has said, like, nearly almost zero things about Palestinians beyond, like, Israel has a right to defend itself. And, like, come on, there's deaths on both sides, Jack. Cut the malarkey. And then literally fucking hyped up one side with material support. Then turns around and issues this statement about anti-Semitism. It just kind of shows, like, one, anti-Semitism is not supposed to be, like, the other side of the argument of anti-Zionism, because, you know, Zionism is not the best interest of all Jews, despite attempts and efforts by Zionists to make it seem like that is the case. Okay? It's wonderful to hear these people just, like, never really rush to ever condemn Israel, but then are like, anti-Semitism is a gigantic problem, which it is. But if you were an honest broker, if you cared about I don't know, minimizing anti-Semitism, like stopping anti-Semitism, then you would straight up mention that anti-Semitism is completely unacceptable. It is deep-seated hatred and bigotry that has been incredibly harmful, both historically and still very harmful to this day in contemporary Western societies as well. Okay? And it should not be brought up even in the same conversation with Israel. And the actions that the Israeli occupation takes against Palestinians, which they subject to an endless amount of cruelty and ethnic cleansing and ethnic displacement. But if there's been a massive online campaign of progressive allyship with the Jews, I've missed it. If corporate executives have sent out workplace memos expressing concern for the safety of Jewish employees, I've missed it. If academic associations have issued public letters denouncing the use of anti-Semitic tropes by pro-Palestinian activists, I've missed them. So, first of all, that is happening. And secondly, if this is pro-Palestine versus like anti-Semitism in the way that they're portraying this, like, and if this is truly a both sides issue, then why are these people brutalizing the other side, or rather never mentioning the other side? Also, doesn't Bret Stephens think that like this is like critical race theory and all this sorts of like liberal nonsense is ruining corporate culture and corporate America, which is supposed to be disassociated from politics? Why is it that conservatives, like, who literally routinely fucking say like, don't do racial sensitivity training, that's bullshit, that's pussy shit, do not do racial sensitivity training, that's fucking bullshit communist propaganda, then literally turn around and like, why isn't there more racial sensitivity training about anti-Semitism? What the fuck? Which also occurs, and it should occur, by the way. Why? It almost feels like you have a specific category of individuals that you care about, and then individuals that you don't care about. It's very weird. It's a curious silence, and in the land of inclusiveness, Jews are denied inclusion. Yeah, totally. One response to the... Yeah, I love it when racial sensitivity training does not feature anti-Semitism. Yeah. You need to be white passing? Yeah. It's so odd to just make this statement on the New York fucking Times. Dog, as a New York Times columnist, I'm sure he literally had to go through racial sensitivity training at some point, right? Like, did he not learn about anti-Semitism in those racial sensitivity trainings? One response to the attacks that I have seen coming from the left is the attacks on Jews are wrong because an American, a British, German should not be held responsible for the actions of the state of Israel. That's true and fine as far as it goes, but it doesn't go far enough. Would the assaults in Los Angeles and New York have been more justifiable if the victims had been Israeli citizens or even, say, Israeli diplomats? No. Is hatred of an entire country and threats or violence? Well, wait, hold on. If hatred of an entire country or threats of violence or to its people acceptable as long as the hate is untainted by some other prejudice? Wait, but no one is saying that it's like acceptable. No one has said that, like, dude, go beat up Israeli people. What are you doing? So why is Bret Stephens just making up a totally fucking ridiculous non sequitur here? It is especially despicable when Israel is singled out in ways that apply to no other country. Oh, here we go. I love this. Yes, Israel is literally singled out in ways that apply to no other country. And that is when it comes to unconditional fealty and support by our legislative branch. Okay? Straight up. Like, even Saudi Arabia doesn't get this kind of fucking protection for the American government. Like, it's the truth. You can call me anti-Semitic all you fucking want. It's literally the truth. Okay? Beyond that, it is fucking psychotic to assume that America, Americans, the media, Western nations don't fucking criticize other countries routinely for their insane actions. To take just one example, when was the last time you heard of a campus demonstration or call for the boycotts and divestments in response to Turkey's 47-year occupation of northern Cyprus or its routine bombardment using American-made jets or Kurdish militants in Iraq? So here's the perfect whataboutism. It's like, first of all, plenty of fucking people criticize Turkey regularly. Okay? Plenty of people criticize Turkey regularly. The American media absolutely is on the side of Kurdish militias. The American government is on the side of Kurdish militias. The American government criticizes the Turkish government, understandably, okay, because the Turkish government does warrant criticism. But regardless of all of this, what I never will understand is, aren't you admitting that what Turkey is doing is wrong, and therefore what Israel is doing is also wrong? So in your effort to find hypocrisy, you have basically demonstrated that what Israel is doing is wrong, just like what Turkey is doing is wrong. And I never understand this take. But again, this doesn't go far enough. The accusations made against Israel stealing Palestinian land, despite the fact that Israel vacated territory from which it subsequently attacked. Oh, I didn't know historic Palestine was vacated. That's crazy. News to me. And wanton violence against Palestinian civilians, particularly children, despite the fact that Israel regularly warned its targets to vacate buildings before targeting them. Oh, shit. Yeah. I wonder if Brett Stevens would be comfortable with this if, like, I don't know, a much more powerful military force was like, hey, Brett, evacuate your house, and then they bombed it, and then and then his kids died. Like, how would he have a take on this? Can't help but make me think of ancient libels about Jewish greed and bloodlust. Motherfucker said, Israel's apartheid. I mean, this is the long way to just, this is a long ass way to say calling out Israel's brutal occupation is blood libel, which is the ultimate, like the ultimate fucking defense card, which literally, in my opinion, and this is a controversial take, I'm gonna let you know, but this is why people literally go to the other side and become fucking anti-Semitic. Okay? You can't take legitimate truths. You can't take legitimate truths and then use very real and very fucking awful things that have happened to Jewish people throughout history and then delegitimize the horrible things that have happened throughout history. That's crazy. Like, you are literally delegitimizing something that is horrible. Also, isn't Israel unique in its occupation? No other conflict besides South Africa had similarities, and one is essentially over, so to speak. Yeah. Brett Stevens' Secret of the Jewish Genius. Also, echoing ancient liberals or ancient libels is the idea that 11 days of fighting between Israel and Hamas, 11 days of fighting between Israel and Hamas, somehow constitute a unique global horror, even as the world barely takes notice of the Taliban's murder this month of 85 people at a school in Kabul. The anti-Semitic worldview is just Judeo-centric. So here's the fucking wonderful part about this. Okay? The real reason why, and I'm gonna be honest with you, the real reason why this doesn't get play in the media, just like Israel's occupation doesn't get play in the media until recently, until this recent act of like crazy amounts of fucking violence that they subject the Palestinians to, is because it's brown people killing one another, or the victims are predominantly brown and Muslim. Okay? Israel's occupation gets favorable coverage from Western media because the victims are Muslim. That's just the fucking truth. I'm sorry. There's a bunch of different reasons for it beyond that, but that's literally part of the reason. And the reason why the Taliban's bombing campaigns and murders don't get any coverage whatsoever is because it's brown people killing other brown people. Because no one gives a fuck about that. I find that wonderful, though, that, like, he's equating the actions of the IDF to the Taliban. So, you know, that's when you do a what about black on black violence but, like, you end up hurting your own cause there. Motherfucker said, what about what about brown on brown violence while simultaneously, like, trying to deflect away from, you know, Israeli violence against Palestinians? Very cool. We agree. This ought to be whistling loudly in the ears of progressives who claim to be horrified by every form of prejudice. Instead, they have indulged an anti-Israel movement that keeps descending into the crudest forms of anti-Semitism. They remind me of a certain kind of Trump voter who would occasionally voice disgust at his most outrageous behavior. Yeah, dude. I love that. Okay, here's what Brett Stevens shouldn't have done. Mention Donald Trump, who 71% of Israelis love and adore for his literal actions in Israel. Why would you even remind people that, like, the greatest ally as a president in the history of modern times is Donald Trump, as far as, like, Israeli allegiance with presidencies goes? Why would you bring that up, you fucking idiot? You're supposed to push that aside. You're supposed to not mention that, like, these horrifying anti-Semites always somehow end up siding with the Israeli government in its actions. That's great, though. Only to come back into alignment with him a few days later. After a while, it becomes clear that the outrage is cheap, and it simply isn't. If it isn't simply fake, progressives will have to come to their own reckoning about what to do about the burgeoning anti-Semitism in their midst. As for Jews, they should take the events of the last few days less as an outrage than as an omen. Dude, liberals are such fucking pathetic little cowardly babies if they unironically read this and go, oh my God. And they do. They do. Any mention of the humanity of Palestinians should be treated with the utmost contempt. Because obviously, when you mention the humanity of Palestinians and their struggle and talk about liberating and ending the occupation and liberating these people, these humans, supposedly, allegedly, you are being an anti-Semitic person. You are being an anti-Semite. That's the fucking TLDR of this article, amongst many others. Okay? Also, your take isn't really that hot. My hyper-Zionist mom straight the fuck up said that increases in anti-Semitism further legitimizes Israel. It's essentially the perpetual cycle of fascist fear. She wants me to go to Israel because of anti-Semitism when all I want is to be happy in the U.S. Shit sucks, homie. Anyway. I mean, dude, you're fine. Like, listen. Listen. Anti-Semitism is a problem. It is certainly a problem, and it's a growing issue in America, okay? But, like, if you're a Jewish person living in America, like, you're in a good situation. Don't worry, okay? Like, it's not like an ever-present threat that's going to rip you from your home and murder you. Okay? I'll say the same thing about Muslims, too. Muslims already know that. Islamophobia is routine and normalized in a way that anti-Semitism is not, right? Like, there's never been a fucking ban on all Jews coming into the United States, but there has been a ban on Muslims coming in from Muslim countries. So, you know, it's not, even in that circumstance, though, most Muslims recognize that they are probably in a better situation here than they would be if they were fucking back home and getting bombed by American gunners and laser-guided missiles. I haven't watched a new thing yet. The new Channel 5 video yet. So what I think is, like, I mean, I don't know. There is something like there is I think a lot of the legitimate fear that people feel straight up stems from accounts like the one that we were looking at yesterday, where they're just like, you should be fearful when you see Free Palestine because that means that they want to kill Jews. Like, that's crazy. You're breeding hostility, and you're unironically saying like a liberation movement should fucking terrify you. A movement that recognizes the humanity of those who have been oppressed in under the Israeli colonialist rule. That movement should terrify you. That means that they're gonna fucking murder you. Like, that is psychotic. That is a psychotic thing to fucking say. And we should remind ourselves that it is not dissimilar. It is no different than white people constantly trying to terrify other white people about Black Lives Matter. Being like, black people are going to come to your neighborhoods and fucking rape you and kill you and burn your buildings down. Because they're saying Black Lives Matter. Okay? We're not doing okay in America. Feels weird, man. I mean, dude, I'm sorry, but if you fucking see the words free parking and think it's Free Palestine and you shudder in your boots as though some fucking random roving gang of random Free Palestine supporters are going to come find you as a Jewish person, rip you out of your home and beat the shit out of you, like, that demonstrates that you have been terrified into this position by someone. Like, what the fuck? How do we stop with the not all Gentiles take that many people use as a response to recent anti-Semitism and actually protect Jews who have nothing to do with the horrors Israel subjects Palestinians to? I mean, the only thing you could do is protect their own, like, protect their fucking communities. Like, I don't know what else to say. Educate people when they say anti-Semitic shit. That's it. What else can I say about this? Gentile, sorry, not genteel. Thank you for seeing the truth and how much I support Israel and stand against the left support for Hamas terrorists. Look, you moron, nobody supported Israel in the recent conflict with Hamas more than Marjorie Taylor Greene. Her analogy may not have been perfect, but you seriously need to get a grip, you feckless cunt. Pelosi is the villain here. Oh my God. The Simple Patriot said this about Kevin McCarthy. Nice, brother. He's in a simple. I love it, dude. Gentiles wilding out, dude. We got some fucking wild goy infighting here. Christian Zionists eating their own here. I don't give a fuck that she said there's Jew space lasers. That might be true, brother. She might be speaking truth to power. You don't know. You don't know if they got them Jew space lasers that did the fire in California. But she's supporting Israel. Shut the fuck up. Something weird is going on PragerU. The PragerU guy and Ben Shapiro. Why did they do this? The thing is, where were these people when Muslims were attacked, killed, raped, and fired from their jobs after 9/11? I don't remember anyone from my community or any of these celebrities and figures condemning these attacks. I mean, that's not even true. There were condemnations, but ultimately, like, Islamophobia was the norm, and it still is. It just is. But it shouldn't deter you from being better than others, especially if you've been subjected to Islamophobia as a Muslim person. Like, you know better. And that's why you should never do that to others. You should never do that to others across the board. It's honestly sad how my self-proclaimed liberal Jewish family has unconditional support for Israel. My mom told me that if Palestinians don't accept Israel, they shouldn't have water or electricity. Yeah, that's like, it's normalized to have like, look, when the occupation, when the colonial project and the occupation is completely fucking normalized, you're gonna have people who consider themselves to be liberal otherwise or progressive otherwise saying shit that actual Nazis would say. If you consistently find yourself saying, what about this? What about that? Maybe you're just engaging in whataboutism and don't want to fucking recognize or even talk about the issue at hand. And that's precisely what's going on.
Does this mean that there's no shortage of medicines, food supplies, or running water now?
During the 11 days of war, we did not run out of food, water, and supplies. We would have if Kerem Shalom and the border would have stayed closed. The border is open now since yesterday, and goods, supplies are coming back in. So from my point of view, there is no acute or serious shortage of medical supplies, food or water, as long as this now starts or continues to come in.
Israeli officials claim that the IDF bombardments were very precise. What's your impression regarding this?
I'm not a military expert, but I would not dispute that. I also have the impression that there is a huge sophistication in the way the Israeli military struck over the last 11 days. So that's not my issue. My issue is another one. I've had many colleagues describe to me that they feel that in comparison to the 2014 war, this time the strikes felt much more vicious in terms of their impact. So yes, they didn't hit, with some exceptions, civilian targets, but the viciousness, ferocity of the strikes was heavily felt.
Don't we have any uplifting news today? Eventually, we'll get to it. This was pretty funny. When you want to write about redistricting, but your editor says no one will click on it, so you write SoCal Pop Phenom, Olivia Rodrigo's home congressional district could be reshaped in post-2020 census reappointment. Olivia Rodrigo's home in Southern California could be reshaped after the 2020 census. The 18-year-old singer and actress just released her debut album, Sour, to massive critical acclaim. Both Los Angeles County and Riverside County, where Rodrigo is from, will see districts shifted. It's like, it even fucking draws a line from one of the songs. The next time Olivia Rodrigo drives through the suburbs, it could be in a different congressional district. I love this article, dude. It's so funny. It's like SpawnCon, yeah. What? The brilliant Palestine breakdown by Low-Key?
Israel has the right to self-defense. It's like saying Captain Cook when he planted the British flag in the Aboriginal nations of what would later become Australia was somehow self-defense.
Double Down News is great. I've shown you some of their videos before on this broadcast where they had like a lot of awesome lefty Jewish thinkers condemn the ridiculous propaganda from the reactionary news media about how Corbyn was anti-Semitic. Very good.
Of Britain. We are not living in a situation where Israel can be defined.
Hold on. I'm like a little worried though. They might have some fucking blood here. I gotta go through it slowly but surely, boys. I'm sorry. Who's this guy? Low key? No, I don't know who that is. I've never. Oh, there is some fucking blood. That's 610. It's not about protecting you, you fucking jackasses. It's about fucking protecting me. I'm not an idiot. I don't think you're gonna fucking die if you see like a second of fucking blood in a photo. It's just Twitch thinks that you will. Like Twitch literally thinks like if you see blood, you will just die. You will turn into a dead person automatically.
To say Israel has the right to self-defense is like saying Captain Cook when he planted the British flag in the Aboriginal nations of what would later become Australia was somehow self-defense of Britain. We are not living in a situation where Israel can be defined as defending itself. It controls what goes in and comes out of Gaza. It controls the electricity in Gaza. It controls the seas of Gaza. It controls the skies of Gaza. This is not about self-defense, and it never was. You are gaslighting the entire world, and we have had enough. This is not a battle between two equal sides. This is colonialism, settler colonialism in full effect. When you look at a place like Gaza, you are talking about 14 years of some of the most comprehensive sanctions that have ever existed in human history. When you look at the difference between a nuclear-armed, technologically advanced army armed by all of the great powers to people where somehow they find a way to resist their situation, there is zero parity in this context. So who are these combatants that Israel needs to defend itself from? A disabled man with his pregnant wife and their 3-year-old child. In a Shartet refugee camp, 7 children were killed with their mothers by an Israeli airstrike.
There isn't any blood,
11 of the children that were killed were already...
Yes, Gaza is the actual pronunciation, but like, I mean, it doesn't matter.
Receiving treatment for traumas that they had suffered in the wars of 2008, 2009 and 2014.
You see all of the kids around me? They're just kids. Why wouldn't you just send a missile to them and kill them? It's not fair.
The right of children to live is what we are talking about here. The right of children to live. They've bombed the Palestinian Children Relief Fund's offices, cafes, bookshops, media towers, schools, but also health facilities. 22 separate health facilities have been significantly damaged, including the only COVID lab in Gaza. Several doctors killed in their homes, doctors who were working on treating an already battered population in the middle of a pandemic. It's clear that there is no parity of arms, but even if there wasn't, there's no parity of power. One side is the occupier, the other side is the occupied. It's a key understanding at the United Nations that decolonization is a positive thing. How is it possible that we seem to be more concerned about defending the right of a colonial, settler, ethnic cleansing entity to continue business as usual?
Zionists love this, by the way. Zionists love this, by the way. What do you mean? Like, oh, the actions of Israel? Yeah.
Usual, which is besieging and ethnic cleansing, then we are bothered by the fact that colonialism still exists in 2021.
The way that my people are settling Judah and Samaria is unfortunately coming at the expense of the Palestinian people.
When you look at figures like Theodor Herzl, credited as the founder of the Zionist movement, their conception was very much a colonial project in the mirror image of European colonialism. There are 440 Israeli colonies in the West Bank, housing over 500,000 illegal settlers who are armed and have control over.
Yeah, they're fucking hella armed and will literally also go with the IDF to areas to instigate shit.
80% of the water in the West Bank. Those settlements are deemed illegal by UN Resolution 2334. Who funds those settlements and where does the money come from? Well, Roman Abramovich, prior to receiving citizenship from Israel, moved $100 million from the British Virgin Islands to Elad, which is hell-bent on ethnically cleansing Sheikh Jarrah and has successfully ethnically cleansed many parts of Jerusalem. Who else funds Elad? The Clermont Family Foundation. It has funded the Center for Security Policy, led by Frank Gaffney, an organization which is also funded by Raytheon and Lockheed Martin. The Center for Security Policy gave the foundational work to Donald Trump for the Muslim ban. The Clermont Family Foundation also funded Middle East Forum, led by former employee of the Israeli Ministry of Defense, Greg Roman. Middle East Forum funded the Free Tommy Robinson campaign, and as a think tank were quoted.
It's so weird that like neo-Nazis love and support Israel a lot. You know, it's just odd.
13 times by Anders Breivik following his
Hold on, don't want to show
massacre
that.
of over 70 people in Norway. Another organization that funds Elad is the Hertog Foundation. They also funded the David Horowitz Freedom Center.
David Horowitz is also a vicious, brutal, psychopathic right-wing freak.
Which employed both Katie Hopkins.
Big round of applause for Israel. Yes, come on Israel.
And Tommy Robinson.
Palestine. Why would you support Palestine?
The Hertog Foundation funds the Friends of the IDF and Middle East Forum. The Friends of the IDF had on their board Robert Shillman. Robert Shillman also funded Tommy Robinson. What we see here is an intertwining of interests.
Is it bad that I don't know most of these orgs? No, this is like very UK specific. In America, similar things exist too, though. But Tommy Robinson is like literally the EDL, the English Defense League, went to jail multiple times, like absolute fucking racist piece of shit. But you know. Türkiye'de Twitch yasaklanabilirmiş. Şaşırmadım. Like an actual fucking fascist.
Between Zionist actors around the world who believe that their interests are served by not only funding violent settlement in the West Bank and a war against indigenous Palestinian people, but also pushing domestic Islamophobia within Britain and the United States.
Everything is the Jews, not a single piece for other people, only for us. And we won't give anybody else, just for us.
Today we see raw fascism within the Green Line. There is over 50 different laws within the state of Israel that enshrine inequality between Palestinian citizens of Israel and Jewish Israelis. We see Palestinians being lynched. But what could have more adequately articulated the inhumanity and the racism than seeing young Zionist men in Jerusalem dancing and celebrating while seeing a fire stemming from the courtyard of Al-Aqsa Mosque. This fascism was foretold by Albert Einstein and others. If he was able to be clear about the
Oh, dude, no. Famous anti-Semite Albert Einstein, dude.
Fascism ahead, why is
this was different? No, that was a Jerusalem Day celebration, and they were dancing and singing a song that was previously banned about like murdering Palestinians, pretty much, as the courtyard of the Al-Aqsa Mosque was burning.
Is it today our freedom of speech is withheld from us? Between 2016 and 2018, 500 Palestinians were arrested for posts that they made on the internet, including children. How hideous is it for those well-paid, well-fed members of the British Commentariat who have complained for so long about cancel culture to pontificate.
Cheering for a mosque on fire, it has nothing to do with religion. They weren't cheering for the mosque on fire. They were doing Jerusalem Day celebrations, but in the background, it's just a striking image, okay? Because in the background, the courtyard of the Al-Aqsa Mosque was on fire. There was a tree that was on fire in the courtyard, and they were dancing on the other side. It's Yimach Shemam, May Their Names Be Erased, is the name of the song. And Jerusalem Day is already a fucking ridiculous day of celebration. It's a celebration of the occupation like overtaking East Jerusalem. It's fucking bullshit.
About their own rights of freedom of speech, while Palestinian children and even children in this country who advocate for the Palestinian cause do not have that freedom of speech.
Babies and children are getting killed for no reason at all in Palestine.
If you've got your racist views, take them somewhere else because they're not welcome here.
You have a sophisticated campaign to depict the victim as the aggressor and the aggressor as the victim. The Zionist project has necessitated a level of censorship, not only in Britain, but in Palestine and in other places around the world. Over 250 Jewish employees of Google have come out and called for anti-Zionist speech to be protected. This is where the change will come from. Not the managerial classes, not the billionaire classes. The change will come from the workers. It will come from the dock workers in Naples who have refused to put those weapons onto ships. It will come from fire brigade workers refusing to take down Palestinian activists, shutting down Elbit systems. It will come from us heeding the call of Palestinian civil society, a unified Palestine that says we will go on strike, we will be ungovernable, so we must too be ungovernable. We exist at a time over the last 5 years where the elite narrative has been permanently discredited. Whether it is through the Black Lives Matter mobilizations, the Extinction Rebellion mobilizations, we are seeing a clear gap between those that decide policy and decide news and the representation of that policy and those that are affected by that policy. We must link together all of these things, as Black Lives Matter bravely did, standing with the Palestinians. It is that type of solidarity which we must build across the world. People are naturally empathetic, and when they see the spectacular forms of violence that have been displayed over the last few days, it is expected that they would respond the ways they have. Well, let's remember that the continuous Nakba is full of slow and less spectacular violence. Do not look away now. Continue to organize, to educate, to learn, and to demand.
How can you say I hate British people when this guy exists? You know what I'm saying, bruv? You know what I'm fucking saying, bruv? I'll shank you with my words, bruv. That was a really good video, man. That was a really good video. We're not going to watch the Israel lobby in the United States, a video that's been like banned in the United States. I've used certain parts of the videos of that comprehensive coverage, but it's far too long. And I am not going to... Wait, why don't I follow Double Down News? I love them. But, hold on. This is fucking awesome. MAGA Frank, Wisconsin 2021 with Dinesh D'Souza, Charlie Kirk. Oh, man, they have fallen, dude. Wait, is that Dinesh D'Souza's daughter? Damn, she's kind of cute. What the fuck? Here, I wanted to show you something really sad before we go to some interesting stuff. Here it is.
We have means of getting a wheelchair for you. I know, but this is
Okay, you ready? You're gonna grab her legs?
And I was gonna talk about buying a house before I get to the fucking Channel 5 video. Yeah, this is really sad. A girl I know had her power assist wheels for her wheelchair that she needs to be independent broken by Delta. This is an ongoing issue that has happened. Countless people in chairs flying with different airlines. You can't replace something custom made for you in a day. Wrote a research paper about this shit freshman year. Did you know that airlines break 25 mobility devices every day? It's fucking inhumane the way wheelchair users are treated on airplanes. Yeah. Good job, guys. These fucking pieces of shit, dude. They do not give a fuck, dude. They do not give a fuck, okay? Hey, and there's no fucking action. Like, there's nothing you can do about it. What are you gonna do? Go with someone else? Another good thread on buying a house. Oh yeah, we're gonna do both of these, okay? We're gonna talk about buying a house. Oh shit, I closed the fucking White Lives Matter rally. We're gonna watch that afterwards, okay? But first, before I move on to that, I am going to hit you with a fucking ad break, boys. It's top of the hour. There's a 60-second ad break incoming, and of course, if you no longer want to see those ads, you know what the deal is. You know what to do. You know what it is. You know what it is. You can subscribe for free with the Twitch Prime. You can use ad block, VPNs, all this sort of shit. But, get those fucking primers out and you'll no longer have to see the ads. Here's the fucking ad break now. I have to pee really bad. So before I go pee, I am going to show you this funny ass video. This thread has a funny video.
Have you ever been?
Is that Apple for sale? Yeah, we're about to put it on sale right now, actually. Well, I'm in the market, so tell me about your Apple. Why should I buy it? Nice try. Okay, people, here's how this is gonna work. I have an Apple here. The highest bidder's going home with this. I want all bids in the next 2 minutes, then we're closing it. Bidding starts at $5.
Feeling pretty confident there, huh? I mean, don't you think...
$10.
He said starting at $5.
15.
Is this a new Apple?
Yeah, just listed. I'm pre-qualified. I'll pay cash. I got cash. 20. 30. 40. No, just make it 45.
Is it even worth that?
50. I don't know. Please, this is the 8th Apple I've tried to buy.
Could I at least see it up close?
Nope, it's an Apple. You know what it is. You either want it or you don't. I'll take it for 100.
What? I'm from California. It's the cheapest Apple I've ever seen.
120.
Why did I do that? Why? I don't. Excuse me. Is that Apple for sale?
Yeah, we're about to put it on sale right now, actually.
Well, I'm in the market, so tell me about your Apple. Why should I buy it?
Nice try. Okay, people, here's how this is gonna work. I have an Apple here. The highest bidder's going home with this. I want all bids in the next 2 minutes, then we're closing it. Bidding starts at $5.
Feeling pretty confident there, huh? I mean, don't you think...
$10.
He said starting at $5.
15.
Is this a new Apple?
Yeah, just listed. I'm pre-qualified. I'll pay cash. I got cash. 20. 30. 40. No, just make it 45.
Is it even worth that?
50. I don't know. Please, this is the 8th Apple I've tried to buy.
Could I at least see it up close?
Nope, it's an Apple. You know what it is. You either want it or you don't. I'll take it for 100.
What? I'm from California. It's the cheapest Apple I've ever seen.
120.
I watched it twice because, honestly, 1, I ran an ad. 2, because I had to go grab a Diet Mountain Dew after I pee-peed. And 3... it's because it's so real. This is literally my experience. Except, and I briefly talked about this. My experience is even worse than this because I tweeted about this earlier today. I put an offer out for 2 houses. And with the recommendation of my agent, I put offer that just straight up was the asking price. Okay? Like, just straight up the asking price, which is, you know, that's what the Apple is, right? $5 is what he's going to sell it for, or $10. Okay? And both of those offers came back with counters that were $100,000 above the asking price. But the worst part is, there wasn't even any other fucking buyers, dude. Like, normally, there are other buyers, and that's why you're like, well, the other buyer wants more money, so, you know, I like you, so what's good? So that's not even the fucking asking price then, you asshole. These people are fucking crazy. Your agents actually told you the correct approach to counter agents are pieces of shit? Yeah. So, because it's such a ridiculous position, like it doesn't matter what the fucking price is. They're just like, no, I want more. Like, you get treated like absolute fucking shit. And one of the houses literally said, I would not be allowed to renegotiate after an appraisal. As in, you know, the bank comes in to appraise the house to give you a loan on the house because that house is now collateral. And let's say you buy $1 million house and the appraisal comes back and says, well, this is a $500,000 house. What normally you would do in that situation is go back and forth with the other, you know, with the seller and say, well, this house is fucking $500,000. I'm not going to pay that because now I can't even, you know, I'm going to have to put down so much more money because the bank won't cover it. Like, the bank is not going to cover the $1 million for the fucking loan that it's giving you because there's not enough collateral. So you have to pay out of pocket. I have to pay $500,000 out of pocket. That's crazy, right? And these guys were like, no, we don't fucking care that you are not even allowed to renegotiate after the appraisal. If it's lower, then you have to cover the additional, on top of the down payment, you have to cover the additional amount out of pocket if the bank won't cover it for you. Now, I want you to understand that this is happening in Los Angeles. As in, like, every house that you purchase is already insanely priced regardless because you're basically paying for the land. Because land is not infinite. This is literally like, this is an insane thing that they're doing. Like, this practice would not, you wouldn't be able to get away with this anywhere else except we're in an asset bubble. So this is happening all around the country. I'm not alone in this. The prime interest rate, I think the average interest rate in Los Angeles currently is 2.7 for jumbo loans, or 2.5 for jumbo loans, according to Zillow. We are at the precipice of a insane bubble. Like, I don't know when the fuck it's gonna burst. If I knew that, obviously, I would strategically wait it out. But I am getting to a point where I'm just not going to buy a house. Like, it's fucking bullshit. I'm not going to buy a house, I don't think. Like, the hilarity is, like, I'm looking at the area, and the motherfuckers that are doing this are also across the street from other motherfuckers that are selling larger houses for cheaper. I've been to those houses. I don't like the houses, right? And they're selling houses for cheaper, and those houses have been on the market for 30 days and even already have a price reduction. So, like, it's clear that people aren't even buying it. And they're like, no, I will not sell it. I will not sell it. Like, why are you doing this? The house itself is a depreciating asset. The land, on the other hand, is an appreciating asset, especially when you are, especially when you're purchasing land in like fucking Los Angeles, in like a really good area of Los Angeles. Now, part of that is because big companies are straight up, like hedge funds are straight up purchasing as many houses as they fucking can. There's a couple different reasons for this. It's not super easy to explain. But a big part of the reason is because massive fucking developers and also hedge funds are purchasing, like gobbling up as many properties as they can so that they can turn around and start renting it to people, so they can become landlords to people, which ironically creates a system where buying a house is unaffordable for most average Joes, so they are stuck renting forever. So it is a problem that basically creates another opportunity for these hedge funds to make more money as a consequence of that. What is this? Chud billionaire? Oh god, it's gonna make me lose my shit. So then, also on top of that, there are like vacant properties all around the country. Oh, you're mad now that it happened to you? What? Wait, I'm so confused. Does this dude think that, like, I have not spoken out against these sorts of practices for, like, literally years? What? Just Armenian genocide. Dude, it's so weird when motherfuckers are so stupid and they just like angrily watch all day, every day. The one from 521? What do you say? My name is Hassan. I'm cringe and talk about things that people don't care about. Why are you in here then, you fucking idiot? Not only are houses in a bubble, the whole market is in a bubble. When it comes down to, it's going to be catastrophic. Trust me, I've been watching this for a long time now. I think confidence is going to shift the moment that there is even a subtle hint of interest rates increasing. And it's going to come at... Oh, you're laughing about the Armenian genocide? The fuck? This is a troll, right? No, motherfucker. I'm laughing that the only thing that this idiot said is Armenian genocide. Because hate watchers love acting like I fucking deny the Armenian genocide or something. Well, there's two things that are going to happen. When the mortgage moratorium ends, the bubble's going to burst. That's one, obviously, because it's going to automatically unlock a bunch of foreclosed homes. And two, I want to see if he says something else, or if he just left. Oh, fucking asshole. And then also, like I said, the other thing that's going to end up happening is because inflation is